Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Department of State Services confirms arrest and detention of presidential candidate of Action Alliance, Omoyele Sowore, over alleged treasonable felony. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka and human rights lawyer Femi Falana condemned the arrest of Mr. Sowore over alleged threats to national security. Members of the coalition of northern groups dissociate self from planned nationwide revolution protests. And U.S. President Donald Trump condemns Texas killing, describes it as an act of cowardice. For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. youtube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. Stay with security issues in Nigeria. Lagos residents are demanding for more security presence in their places of abode to reduce the level of crime across the state. Noting some of the challenges faced, such as bad roads, power shortage, and lack of primary health facilities, residents of Shasha, Idimu, and Council area explain the need to have adequate security around them.
It's the usual business day at the main plank market in Shasha area of Lagos, with traders getting set for the day's activities. Little do they know that a bigger conversation will come their way, especially as it concerns their safety and the security challenges confronting them. The police is giving them an opportunity to open up these challenges, while the officers will now brace up to address them tactically.
Good morning, sir.
A door-to-door conversation is also part of the security measures being adopted by the Rapid Response Squad in Lagos. Their target is the hinterland.
Then the second incident, like close to 2 months later, person came inside again, and then this time we're real deep asleep, and then he tore the net, opened the slide window, the glass window, and then flashed a torchlight and asked me, tell your wife to get all your phones and the cash in the house.
At the Oguntage area of Shasha, both the old and young welcome this initiative, but will want the police officers to go beyond visitation and match their words with action.
These Okada riders coming around 6, 5, 1 a.m. in the midnight, and times like that. And even early in the morning at times, snatching bags from people, collecting their phones, and even macheting some people. But seeing officers here today, police officers here today, we are very happy, knowing fully well that they are going to be of help to us.
Most times when we call the police, it's either when the whole thing has gone, they showed up, and nothing else has been done since then. But it has become a regular thing. Even those guys, most times they come in the afternoon, armed, coming to your office, and they're like, they need to get what you've sold, and it's not the first time, not the second time that is happening in this vicinity.
Also to monitor the exercise, the head of unit speaks on collaborative efforts in crime fighting.
This is the brainchild of the Commissioner of Police Lagos, CP Muazu Subar. He has enjoined all the policemen in Lagos, senior police officers, area commanders, DPOs, to embrace the principle of community policing and partnership. He has directed all the area commanders and senior police officers to go to all their areas of jurisdiction and meet with the community one by one. He has directed that we should police communities according to the particular problems they have in those communities. He has directed that we should get direct feedback from members of the community.
The police officers believe they can bring to life the popular slogan of the police being your friend if they are accorded more cordiality and empowered with information to tackle crime and other vices within the state.
In Adamawa State, gunmen have killed the leader of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Alhaji Saidu Kolaku. The assailants stormed his residence at Sabompegi in Moyo Belwa local government area of Adamawa State and shot him dead. Confirming the incident to Channels Television, the Secretary of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, Malam Baba Usman, described the murder of Alhaji Kulaku, who until his death was the zonal vice chairman of the association in Adamawa South, as a possible reprisal attack, as he has been assisting security operatives in tracking kidnappers and other criminal elements in the state. Barely 24 hours after the death of another Nigerian, Benjamin Simeon, in South Africa, the governor of his home state, Dave Umahi, is calling on the federal government to commence full investigation into the murder of Mr. Simeon by yet-to-be-identified gunmen. In a statement through his chief press secretary, the governor describes the death of Mr. Simeon as unfortunate that has since thrown the state into mourning. He called on the secretary to the government of the Federation to intervene and press on the South African envoy to immediately open investigation into the killing of a law-abiding citizen of the country. He adds that there is need for the South African government to thoroughly investigate the case and ensure that justice is served. The successes recorded in the fight against insurgency, banditry, and other security challenges across Nigeria can be attributed to the synergy between various security agencies. That's according to the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar. Marshal Abubakar told Ladia Keridulale of Channels Television on our current affairs program, Newsnight, that because of the coordination between agencies in the last decade, there has not been a single incident of the Air Force dropping bombs on its own troops.
It is true we have intelligence agents, but this intelligence gathered there's what we call the Intelligence Fusion Center, where all intelligence comes in there and is gathered, is analyzed, and where those analyzing the intelligence determine, this information will be useful to the Air Force. Let's send it to them. And immediately the Air Task Force commander is contacted, and he looks at the intelligence, he verifies it, and take the appropriate decision that he thinks. I don't want to, I have had quite a number of times some people, but I think it's not a true reflection of the reality on ground, where people say the services are operating separately. It's not true. It's not true. There's no way you fight a war, you bomb a location where you have ground troops, and you are not working together, you are not coordinating. It's impossible. By now, we would have killed so many of our own troops. But for the last 10 years or thereabouts, there has not been a single incident of the Air Force throwing bombs on its own troops. That clearly shows that there must be some level of coordination.
You can watch the full interview with Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar on Newsnight. It airs Monday, August 5th at 9 p.m. here on Channels Television. The road to finding effective and efficient solutions to kidnapping and other acts of terrorism is not paved in gold. Though terrorism remains a global challenge, countries are implementing creative and technology-led solutions to counter terrorists. So what can be done to stop kidnappers, and what does the future of Nigeria's security look like? Joining us now is Channels Television's information analyst, Babajide Ogunsoro, who has a game of chess already going on.
I hope I'll be able to teach you how to play this game, because I think this game, this really reflects the challenges we face. Just imagine if the white pieces were the Nigerian defense and the black pieces, and you're wearing black. Let's just assume the black pieces represented the bad guys, the kidnappers, the terrorists. But what does chess have to do with how we fight kidnapping and terrorism? Three things. The first is, in chess, how do you win? And the first thing is you need to know how to move your pieces. The second is, how do you win? I need to know what you're thinking. And the third and final step to winning is, I also need to ensure that you do not know what I'm thinking. So let's take it step by step. The first is knowing how to move your pieces. We need to know what sort of battle are we involved in? What sort of battle are we facing with the kidnappers? And the evidence shows this isn't conventional warfare. It is guerrilla warfare. So the way we approach this game or this war should be not based on conventional approach, but guerrilla warfare. The second is I talked about knowing what you're thinking, because if I know what you're thinking, I then will have an advantage. And finally, it is important for you not to know what I'm thinking. And so we've seen the president talk about CCTVs, drones, and community policing. Are they good steps? Oh, yes, they are good steps. But the challenge is it then tells the enemy what we are thinking, and it then gives them what to expect. So the president has come out to reveal some of our tactics, not our strategy, but because those tactics are now known to the terrorists. And let's not make any mistakes. Even tonight, we have good people listening to Channels TV, and of course, we should expect that the bad guys, the kidnappers and the terrorists, they're also listening and watching to understand what our strategies are. So we need to be careful when we release what our tactics are.
So what else can we do to improve security?
For instance, let's look at the facts on how kidnappers operate. That is the first thing. Let's learn a bit more about how they operate. And the evidence suggests that 85% of victims are released in the first week. The evidence from NY24 that has done a detailed study on how kidnappers operate as well, let's also see that 95% of victims also come out or are released in less than 4 weeks. So you have 85% of victims released in less than a week. We have 95% of all kidnapped victims released before the 4th week. And only 5% of victims are held for more than 4 weeks. Now, what is the intelligence in this? It assists us to understand that these kidnappers prefer to hold victims for a short time and do multiple attacks. That is their strategy based on all the evidence. It is kidnap, hold for a short time, let go, and then kidnap the next victim. So clearly, yes, we have the evidence that that is their strategy, and we then need to use such information to fight them, especially because we know that every kidnapper wants to escape. Right. And so we need to focus more on how they also escape and make sure we block those routes of escape.
Then how do non-security factors influence security, especially indicators such as illiteracy, low level of education, and unemployment?
That's a lot, and you're not playing this game. But here's what we need to focus on. Today, it is complicated to be able to identify all the causes of insecurity. But there's one factor that we can talk about, and that is the catalyst to kidnapping, the catalyst to terrorism. You know what the catalyst is? That thing that speeds up the reaction. And unemployment is the catalyst. So let's take a look at how Nigerians have been idle since 2014. And the evidence shows that in 2014, when we were at the peak of terrorism, there were 1.5 million Nigerians that had nothing to do. And by 1.5 million Nigerians, I'm not talking about those that have part-time or full-time jobs, Nigerians that had nothing to do, 1.5 million. The evidence today shows that there are 9.7 million Nigerians that have nothing to do. That's 6 times what it was in 2014. So clearly we can identify some of the catalysts to the challenges of kidnapping and terrorism. But in the final analysis, there's one thing that we should recommend, and that is how do we win this fight? And that we can listen to the words of Bobby Knight. He says that it is not just the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win. So more than ever before, Amarachi, let's prepare to win this fight. And you also need to prepare on how to win this game next time.
We'll play this after the news.
Let's keep preparing. Let's keep preparing on how to win. It's not just the will to win, it is the will to prepare to win.
I hear you loud and clear. And when the news at 10 returns, federal government introduces issuance of national identity number to Nigerians resident in the Republic of Benin. Do join us again.